Weather impact alert and update here on our Facebook channel on CBS19 Plus and our YouTube channel. I'm with meteorologist Sarah Blue, who's standing by at the weather wall. We are going to be covering these storms which are currently moving through the area. We have a severe thunderstorm warning right now that is in effect for Cherokee County until 7:15. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Anderson County until 7:30. So we'll stay on the air here for about a half hour with you, guide you through these storms. What we're concerned about is the potential for rotation along these cells as they sort of interact with a cold front. And as they interact with that cold front, they could spawn another tornado warning or two. So we got to carefully watch that. Once the front gets, let's say, south of these cells, then they should merge together. We'll have a line of showers and thunderstorms. It should greatly reduce the tornado threat. Still going to be a threat for hail as we head through the rest of the night. Still going to be the threat for flash flooding, heavy rainfall, and maybe some gusty winds. Though I got to tell you, being out and about in these storms this afternoon, there was not a lot of wind with these storms at all. It was more about just heavy rainfall and huge raindrops coming down with these showers and thunderstorms. And when the thunder rumbled, it was very loud. All right, let's go over to meteorologist Sarah Blue. She's tracking these storms and has been all night or all evening long here on CBS 19. Sarah, right now it looks like this line, I'm hoping, as you are, that it kind of just merges and we're talking about a line of thunderstorms instead of tornadic thunderstorms.
Certainly, Rhett. We are all crossing our fingers for that. Now, we are still tracking this pretty significant line out to our west, but lots of lightning, just like Brett said. I've been watching this all through the night as it made it from I-30 down to I-20 to where it is now. It has just been moving fast, and look at all of this lightning out of this. One of the main threats that we're tracking with this is lightning. Now, all the lightning strikes that you're seeing on this was in the past 15 minutes or so. This is what's called cloud to ground lightning. You can see just the amount in this little box right here, almost 200 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. Remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. Even if you are outside of this lightning or outside of the bulk of the thunderstorm, we can see lightning strikes up to 10 miles outside of the parent storm, so please make sure you're staying weather aware. Severe thunderstorms currently stretching across the areas highlighted in yellow. Previously, just to the west of Palestine, we did have a tornado warning out there a little bit earlier that still started to weaken and break apart. There was a wall cloud that has since dissipated. Now, the biggest thing with this, gusty winds, hail, like Brett was saying, lots of big raindrops coming out of it. If you're outdoors, I recommend moving inside. Now, this cell right here just toward Rusk, we're keeping a really close eye on this. This one has what's called a tornado possible tag. That means that it could spin out a tornado or two. Can we switch over to, yeah, there we go. This is how we're going to see our wind tracker. We can see which direction the wind is going and if there is any rotation. Now, a little bit of rotation where you see the red and the green. If we could zoom in on that, that'd be great. That's where we're seeing just that slight broad rotation, but not enough to be considered a tornado or even a spin down. We, of course, are going to continue to just keep an eye on this over the next several hours, or the next 30 minutes or so, I believe is how long we're going to stay on air, to make sure that we're not seeing anything else. Now, we did just see it switch from red to green. Nothing to worry about there. We're just pulling off of a different radar site to get a good view of it. Really, we're not seeing any organized rotation, just kind of broad, typical rotation that you see in a thunderstorm like this. Now, can we switch over to see our hail tracker? We've been seeing reports of some pretty significant hail out of this from the National Weather Service. They were saying hail at about 1/2 inch in size, so that's coming down at the size of pocket change. You can see that hail core starting to pop up right there. If you can match the color, so anywhere between nickel to a quarter. From our radar estimates, maybe even $50 for some of the larger hailstones coming out of this. So my friends in Rusk, try to stay indoors until this particular part of the cell passes you by. Let's take a better look to see where we're seeing all of the storms across the Piney Woods. Now, this is where we're seeing the bulk of the hail and a little bit out to the west of Palestine, but really, that's kind of it. Oh, we can get a track on this. See, it's moving between 20 to 30 miles per hour. So my friends in Rusk, that should get to you a little bit before 7:30. So we are giving you about a 20-minute heads up on that. New Salem closer to 8 if it continues to move at the same speed, but it most likely will. We have seen them kind of maintain this 20 to 30 mile per hour speed throughout the entire evening. Now, this is going to continue to move out to the northeast. Again, watch out for the hail, watch out for the lightning. We have seen some gustier winds out of this. I've seen reports of around 40 mile per hour wind gusts during the center of the storms where we're seeing those cores. But again, once you get behind it, you're kind of out of the bulk of it. So for areas toward Tyler, Longview, Gilmer, Canton, there are still some scattered strikes of lightning, but nothing that's necessarily quite as intense as what we're seeing out here from Palestine back toward central Texas and out toward Henderson. Now, really, it's this part of the storm that we're tracking the bulk of, but up to the north, still some heavier pockets of rain. I'm hearing just a little bit of rain on our roof here in Tyler at the CBS19 studio. But still, make sure that you are staying weather aware. If you're planning any your Christmas Eve plans and you are driving out to church or to your family's home, just make sure that you're staying extra weather aware out there. Are we able to switch over to see our rainfall totals from our estimates? We're going to try to get that up. Here we go. We have seen some pretty significant rain come out of this. You can match the color here to your city. The areas in the brighter blues and purples are where we have seen higher rain totals. So back toward Dallas, I'm looking at Willow Park. That's where we received an estimated 4 inches of rain. Toward Henderson, Jacksonville, close to 2, maybe 2.5 inches. So pretty significant rainfall coming out of this. When I was looking at our Texas Mesonet data earlier, this is closer to maybe 3, 4 o'clock. About an inch to 2 inches of rain had fallen north of I-20 at that point. So we're already seeing this continue to move through. Make sure that you, of course, are watching out on those roadways. We have heard some reports of standing water in low-lying areas. So if you see floodwaters, remember to turn around, don't drown. Over half of vehicle deaths that happen during flooding occur because you drive into flooding water. So make sure you're staying weather aware. Once again, those severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for those of you just joining us. One out toward Palestine. If we zoom in, you can see the area that's highlighted in the yellow polygon. This one going all the way through 7:30. A second one out toward Rusk, this one going just till 7:15. We, of course, are going to continue to stay on there with you, but it's all this big wide line that we're tracking. You can see Brett just put a track on this out toward Rusk. That'll get to you closer to 7:15, and we're talking about the specific line itself. When we tracked it previously, that was the hail core of the storm. So this line moving out to the east-southeast, Mount Enterprise, that should hit you guys closer to 7:30. Crockett around 8. Madisonville a little bit before 8, around 7:50. Make sure you're staying weather aware. Now, the gustiest winds will be in this front line of storms, but it's not been quite as gusty as originally we thought. Around 30 miles per hour for many of our East Texas cities. It was more intense out to the west. Now, this little cell toward Jacksonville looks like it's almost getting absorbed into this line of storms. That's likely the cold front. So we are watching a cold front. That's what's causing all of this mess that we're seeing on the Christmas Eve night. As that continues to come through, what we're looking for is the cold front to come and undercut these storms. That means that it's going to come through and kind of choke out the energy that it's been feeding off of. Now, once the cold front continues to push through, that's going to really diminish the threat of any tornadoes or severe storms that we're seeing. You can see the cold front, Brett, is driving it or dragging it through right there. As it continues to push through, the bulk of it is going to, the worst of the storm, the heaviest rain, the gustiest winds, the biggest hail, all going to be in front of that cold front. But as the cold front continues to push through, the storms behind it will begin to weaken. So it kind of looks like that's already beginning to happen. We'll, of course, continue to bring you the latest and continue to give you the updates. But for those of you just joining us again, lots of storms currently stretching toward Henderson, back towards central Texas, lightning, so a few gusty winds at about 30 miles per hour. We have seen some pocket change sized hail, especially for the areas in these yellow polygons, some decent rain coming out of these. Now, this specific severe thunderstorm warning does have a tornado possible tag. If we switch over to our wind tracker, see if there's any rotation coming out of that. I doubt that there is, but of course we just want to make sure that you are getting the latest data. Any storm reports that we've gotten? Looks like we haven't gotten any.
Yeah.
All right, our CBS19 wind tracker. It does look like we're seeing a little bit of broad scale rotation out there. Is there a possibility that we could click on our Titan indicator, kind of see what we're getting from our radar estimates? Broad scale rotation, if we want to see something that's more tornadic, you have to see much more organized red and green next to each other. This is just too broad to have that real concern at this exact moment. Now, it is moving at about 25 miles per hour up to the northeast. Our radar estimates are putting it at about an inch of hail diameter. That's about a quarter size of hail coming through, so a quarter, about pocket change. It is heading up to the northeast. A few gusty winds, heavier rain, but really it's that hail that we've been talking about all week. We're going to put a track on it for you. My friends in Rusk, this cell should get to you closer to 7:30. It looks like we just got a new scan in there, so that's why you saw it move out toward New Salem, closer to 8 or a little bit after 8. You can find your city on there. Just make sure you're staying weather aware and keep up to date with the forecast. Of course, if something worse does pop, we will stay on air with you. We're not going to make you go through it alone, especially on this Christmas Eve night. Oh, we just got a new scan in there. You can see the rotation even less defined than it was before. So I'm feeling more confident that this is just going to be continue to move through. The cold front probably coming through and undercutting that. We're looking at this cell over here toward Palestine. This cell was the one that previously had a tornado warning with it. There was a wall cloud that was spotted when it was out to our west, closer to Mahia. That has since dissipated. Now we are just seeing the severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County. This is going through 7:30. Decent sized hail out of this. I believe when I checked with the National Weather Service, that was closer to maybe a quarter of hail coming down. That's where we're seeing the rotation that had previously caused the tornado warning. That's since cleared out. You can see just broad scale rotation. Some gustier winds coming out of the center of that. Now this is pretty far away from the radar. So are we pulling off of Shreveport with this?
We are. We're pulling out of the nearest, so that's probably going to be pulling out of Fort Worth. I just wanted to also answer, we had Larry Wayne King is wondering if Smith County was in a severe thunderstorm warning, and no, Smith County is not included in any type of severe thunderstorm warning right now. But just wanted to say Merry Christmas to Kimberly Gill, Donald Straley, Mike Harrington, Juan Sanchez. We got Lisa Stevens, a lot of folks watching tonight, Sarah. But currently Smith County not under any type of severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, that storm right there by Palestine, well, that was Shreveport. It switches over, and you can see how it goes back over toward Fort Worth. And so as the Fort Worth view looks a little bit like the rotation's much wider. So probably what we're seeing out of Shreveport here is probably what 9,000 feet in the air. So mid-level rotation certainly there. I'm going to go over to the big monitor. So if you want to cover that, or we'll come over here. We'll talk about what's going on here from our other monitor. So all around this, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that goes until midnight. So right as Christmas rings in, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be southern Rusk County here, that little corner. All right, then you've got western Nacogdoches County. Nacogdoches would be right on the edge of it. So the city of Nacogdoches itself, not firmly in that tornado watch, or severe thunderstorm watch, I should say. Lufkin also just on the edge of that. So about half the city of Lufkin in a severe thunderstorm watch. The other half in eastern Angelina County not. Sabine, St. Augustine, Shelby, and Shelby County, and oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot what county that is. Help me out here a second. Panola County, my goodness. Yeah, Panola, that just slipped my mind. Shelby and Panola County, and then Marion County not included in that. Tyler is not in the severe thunderstorm watch. Half of Anderson County is. And again, that goes until midnight, and then it goes back to the west. So Brenham, Bryan, Conroe, Huntsville, all of those towns and cities are in the severe thunderstorm warning. All right, so one severe thunderstorm warning there till 7:30. And again, we're going to stay on at least till 7:30 and guide you through these storms. What we can do here is take a look at some of these storms and track those. Look at that one down by Cushing, and Dennis Sheath probably getting a lot of rain out of that storm. It just switched over. So what are we looking at there at the Cushing storm? That Cushing storm is relatively moving to the northeast at 20 miles an hour. The maximum hail size on that's about nickels. Probability of hail even being in that cell is only 20%. The tornado impact is low. It's the wind impact. So we're probably getting some gusty winds in the order of about 7. Hail impact on the lower side. The flooding impact's about a 5. So there is some marginal flooding possible with that storm. But that's the heaviest cell right now. Look at all that lightning near Cushing. Back to Palestine, that's the severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County. And then as we go up to the north, this is just heavy rain moving through Tyler at this time. I'll put this into motion for you. You can see the general movement is from the southwest to the northeast. As Sarah pointed out, those cells down to the south are being undercut by the cold front, and the cold front itself is essentially sitting Now it looks like it's going to be from Shreveport back here to Hallsville, north of Cushing to Palestine. So anything behind it's going to be what we say elevated, so it's not surface-based, so it has less of a chance of rotating. There would still be a chance for some hail with an elevated thunderstorm, but most likely elevated thunderstorms will pose more of a lightning and heavy rain threat. South of that, as this front continues to undercut those storms, and I may have the front a little farther, too far to the north, because the front itself could technically be more in the line of about here to where it's already crossed. We'll have to take a look at some temperatures down there and see exactly what's happening with the winds. But if that's the case, then you've got more elevated thunderstorms. Just looking at the amount of lightning, and there is a lot of lightning with it, that would be my guess, is that we're essentially looking more so at some more elevated thunderstorms. All right, I'm going to pause that. What I want to do is also take a look at storm relative velocity out of this cell and see if we can pick out anything that is of concern. And right now, no. Maybe some gusty winds around Elkhart. That is about it. I'm not seeing anything else to be overly concerned of at this time. So that's certainly good news. Let me check out hail tracker. We were looking at the hail earlier. It looks like the hail has dissipated. All right, I'm going to go toss it back over to Sarah. She's in the Weather Center. I know she was checking with the National Weather Service with some updates there. Before we do, let me just zoom in on this one little cell down here toward, what is that, toward Long Lake, southwest of Palestine. There's a little bit of maybe marble-sized hail in that storm. And that is it. Sarah, what's anything new from the Weather Service on these storms?
No, we haven't been getting much information from the Weather Service in. They're just continuing to watch it. They did say that the cell over Anderson County has begun to weaken slightly, so that is good news. I'm continuing. They just updated what they call their meso discussion. That's where we're tracking the updates from the Storm Prediction Center. So that's from the big one out, I believe, in Norman, Oklahoma. Now, we are continuing to watch this. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys real fast. And Zach, can you? Max 2 if they want. Oh, Zach, can you take it on Max 2, please? Thank you. That's where we have it for those areas highlighted. That's going through midnight. So if you live in any of the highlighted counties, make sure that you are staying weather aware out there. Now, I was seeing some questions on Facebook about how long these storms are going to last. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through a future skycast, and we'll come back to radar real fast. So if we could switch back over to Max 1, that would be fantastic. Alrighty, so this is future skycast. We're looking at it. This is what it might look like closer to 9. The storms could tap into some energy over deep East Texas toward Jacksonville, Palestine, Crockett. We've seen a lot of what is called CAPE, but basically all that is thunderstorm energy that comes from the warmth that we're seeing at this time of year. Now, this will continue to push out to the south. We'll see it continue to linger. This is what it looks like closer to midnight, so about the time that Santa's delivering all of his presents. Lots of rain toward Nacogdoches, St. Augustine Center, Jacksonville. I want you to make sure that you are staying weather aware. This will not slow down Santa from getting all of the kiddos in East Texas. By the time we get to early tomorrow morning, really the thunder itself has kind of cleared out. We are still seeing some rain for most of the piney woods at that time. It'll continue to linger, and by the time we're kind of getting up and about in Christmas, just rain. We're seeing a little bit of thunder, potentially way out to our south, but as we get through the rest of Christmas, things are looking much calmer. So really, it's going to just be tonight that we're tracking the bulk of this storm system. So taking you back outside to radar, lots of lightning, some hail coming out of this. Let me go ahead and put a track on this so you guys can see all where it is going.
I think the front has undercut these thunderstorms. I'm looking at a radar scan right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can see how the thunderstorms, the shape just changes and the intensity changes. Now, from Buffalo back to the southwest where the severe thunderstorm watch continues tonight toward Franklin all the way southwest, I'd say back toward Bryan, College Station, Cedar Creek, LaGrange. A few thunderstorm warnings are starting to pop up there because they are still south of the cold front. But where the front has now passed and crossed over, near Rusk, down toward Mount Enterprise. Just had a question about Mount Enterprise. Looks like Mount Enterprise right now, it's just heavy rainfall. So the severe threat is certainly dwindling pretty quickly, but the flash flood threat will increase here as we head later into the night. So that was the question from Eric about Mount Enterprise. Also had a question, Dame Robinson said, ew, raining, getting it real good in Palestine, good rain. Also heavy rain was being reported in, I believe it was Mount Alba, and it's coming down pretty heavy right now. So those are the 3 reports from Roger Morton. Roger, appreciate that input. Sarah?
Thanks, Rhett. Yeah, lots of rain has come down. Let me zoom in on what our radar estimates are in Palestine. From our radar, where we're seeing the blue, that's between an inch and an inch and a half of rain that from our radar estimates have come down. Lots of heavy rainfall out of this. I don't believe we have any flash flood warnings, not that I have seen issued from the National Weather Service. Nothing yet. But of course, make sure that you are on the lookout for any standing water, especially if you're heading out for your Christmas Eve plans. Make sure that you are staying weather aware. Now, some heavier rain has come down in Henderson. Like Brett said, it does look like the front has undercut those thunderstorms that are coming through, which is good news. That means that they will have less of a threat of any severe weather. And just look, we're seeing pretty much a jagged edge for the areas toward Palestine, Rusk, Laneville, back to Carthage. These look more like their general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms rather than that pretty intense line that we were seeing. Now I'm going to zoom in on Palestine. We're seeing lots of lightning out there. We might be getting a hail core. Let me switch over to see if I can get our hail tracker up. That way we can see what is happening. Let me see, where did our hail tracker go? I'm having trouble finding it right there. There we go. I just found it. Now it looks like our hail is coming down around the size of Nichols, so that is likely a hail core that we're seeing. Nichols is smaller than what we were seeing a little bit earlier, so that's a good sign that it's becoming less intense. Still a few gusty winds, but really lightning and heavy rain. That is what we are kind of tracking over the next several hours. Still though, I want to caution you about the lightning. Please remember that when thunder roars, go indoors. It would be a real shame if Christmas Eve would be impacted by the lightning, so please make sure you are staying weather aware. Let me see if I can get a track of how much lightning is coming out of that cell. I believe Brett actually has it up if we want to switch over to Max too.
Donnie Oldman, who lives on 84 East, Mount Enterprise area, he says we've got hail there. Take a look here. This is going to be the Palestine cell, and this has 163 lightning strikes in that. And again, that's within the last 15 minutes. So it is certainly coming down at this time over in that area. I'll switch back to reflectivity and then I'll widen things back out here. And you'll see that's really the heaviest. This is a really heavy cell right now. Now let's go back over to Highway 84. So anywhere from Rusk over toward Cushing, southern parts of, let's see, I would say even eastern parts of Cherokee County. So right in here to southern Rusk County over toward Cushing, northern parts of Nacogdoches County. That area really seeing a lot of rain and thunder and lightning. And then on top of that, we do have our Titan indicator. Now it's not a warned storm, but our Titan indicator saying there might be some nickel-sized hail in there. That's what your half-inch size hail is going to be. Let me move this out of the way so we can kind of look at that better. 70% chance that we've got some hail in that cell, and I just clicked on that. So that's where I believe Donnie was talking about. Wind impact around a 7, hail impacts around a 3, flooding impact running roughly at about a 5. So you've got heavy rain, you've got wind and hail in that storm, and a 70% chance that you've got hail coming out of this storm right here and an increasing updraft. And so what does that mean? If you have an increasing updraft, then you have a cell that's going to be able to sustain the updraft so that the hailstones can, or the updraft can throw the little ice crystals higher into the clouds. And of course, that whole circulation of the hailstorm or the hailstones going up, falling, and then refreezing as they get pushed back up into the thunderstorm again. So we could see some larger hail coming out of that cell at Laneville. Let me look at the hail tracker on that in Laneville. And right now, boy, that's pretty small. I mean, there could be a little pea-sized hail near Cushing right now. And there was a little bit of pea-sized back to the southwest of Rusk. I'll keep an eye on this, Sarah, west of Cushing, and see if that doesn't increase in hail size. We could possibly see that, with considering that updraft still looks like it's fairly strong or strengthening at this time.
Certainly, Brett. Yeah, we're going to continue to keep an eye on it. Again, hail is something that we got to watch out for. If you happen to see any hail, of course, make sure that it is safe to do so. If you can take a picture of it, and you could either comment it on our Facebook page or send it to us at our email, weather at CBS19.tv. We would love to see that. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to stay on for the next 4 minutes or so. That's out to the west. I believe Brett was just talking about the cell. It includes Harmony, just to the west of Palestine, Long Lake. Tons of lightning out of this. We are seeing a bit of hail come out of that, so of course make sure that you are trying to avoid that as much as possible. It's coming at about a nickel size of hail. Overall, lots of rain and thunder. The cold front appears that it is kind of just cutting through our storms, which is undercutting, which is very good for us, but still we are tracking these cells moving to the east southeast. This little line from Franklin back to Palestine, I'm just going to continue to keep my eye on it. It's not as intense as it was before, but we are still seeing lots of lightning. There is a chance for gusty winds, especially on the front edge of this. So that's out towards Centerville, out just to the west of Malvern towards Centerville. I already mentioned that one. This is stretching out toward Edge and Bryan potentially as well. So that's as far as the line goes that we are concerned about in our area. But of course, lots of lightning out there. Let me see. I'm going to switch over to our Nacogdoches camera to see if we are seeing anything. Let me just look really fast to see.
While you do that, Donnie says he was actually in Palestine on Highway 84 East between Palestine and Rusk. If we come back over as Sarah gets that camera view shot put up here, I'll show you on our hail tracker here. I put this little cell there, and that's going to correspond with nickel to quarter-sized hail, so possibly severe hail. So that's why that severe thunderstorm warning continues. The cell itself, or the core itself, moving to the northeast roughly 25 to 30 miles an hour. So Wells Creek 747, so that's in about 20 minutes. Ironton in about a half hour. Hume would be closer to 45 minutes as that cell tracks out to the east and to the northeast. Across what looks like parts of southern Anderson County toward parts of, let's see, Rusk County, or Cherokee County, I should say. So out of Anderson County, the county line right here between Anderson and Cherokee County. So just south of Hume, Wells Creek, southern Cherokee County, you could pick up some what could be nickel to quarter-sized hail. So this severe thunderstorm warning, well, now the hail core just came down. It always happens that way, Sarah. You say something, and then sure enough, nature sort of backs it off. But anyway, the hail core came down, so maybe a little bit of pea-sized hail. This warning may be allowed to expire. What time was that warning going till? That warning was
7:30, the one near Palestine.
Oh, so in about a minute and a half.
They said that they're going to allow it to expire, just getting from the National Weather Service chat.
Okay. All right. So our radar.
Great news.
Our radar is definitely indicating that hail core is coming down. All right. Anything? And so, any other updates?
Let me see. I'm watching from the National Weather Service. The cold front has cleared nearly entirely most of the forecasted area. So that's most of our area here in East Texas, out to our southwest. I did just hear a rumble of thunder here at our CBS19 studio. Yeah. I did get a look at our SFA camera that's in Nacogdoches. We are seeing a few drops of rain out there. Nothing that impressive just yet. The camera is facing out to the north, but you can see just that little raindrop. We will likely get a more impressive view later in the day. Now, again, just showing you where those storms are. Again, some hail still out there, lightning. Really, the bulk of the severe threat has passed from our area. There will still be lightning. There will still be hail. In fact, let me just get a check of what this Titan indicator is saying. This is to the northwest of Alto. Max hail size, 2 inches. That's pretty intense. Now, that's where we're seeing it on our radar estimates. So, of course, this could be slightly bigger or slightly smaller depending on where you are within that storm, but still hail. There is a chance for those gusty winds. Make sure that you are staying weather aware out there. Brett, are you seeing anything from the National Weather Service?
No, I was looking at some of the questions we had from some viewers, and I appreciate everybody coming in and checking with us tonight. We really wish everybody to have a safe and Merry Christmas. James Landers is in Rusk and seeing plenty of lightning and heavy, hard rain at times. Yes, and I think, James, that's basically what you can expect here the rest of the night. There could be a little bit of small hail as that cell moves out of Anderson County, but it does look like the severe threat is coming down on that. And Kurt Cutter Wright watching now. Lisa Blue, you probably know her. She's watching.
Hey, yeah, that's my mom.
And we've got also, I say Dame Robinson had lots of hail coming down. All right, let me just show you what we're talking about when we're talking about the cold front undercutting what's going on. Let me take off my glasses. I give away secrets. People know I wear glasses. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. If you come out to me, so the front itself. So notice how the thunderstorms are coming. They look very sharp, very well-defined thunderstorms as they crossed out of Tyler and moved to the south toward Lufkin. And then suddenly they start to take on more of a broken appearance, right? Except down here, except southwest of Anderson County, back to southeast of Waco, all the way toward Austin. So what's going on there, all right? So let's talk about that. All right, so what we're seeing here is essentially the cold front, as we mentioned, undercutting the thunderstorms right here. So the cold front is out ahead of the thunderstorms here, and then it crosses back this way. And so these thunderstorms are still ahead of the cold front, while the other thunderstorms have moved behind the cold front. So they've elevated. They will have a harder time creating any type of true severe weather in terms of wind. Could see some hailers coming out of that. But right now, the entire area, it looks like, is severe thunderstorm warned free at this time. But we still have the severe thunderstorm watch until midnight, but again, not Smith County, not Gregg County, Wood, Upshur County, not included, okay? Southern Anderson County probably coming out of this pretty quickly. Within the next hour, I would predict that Cherokee County and even Rusk County will come out of the watch. We'll probably keep the watch going back toward Livingston, Huntsville, Conroe, Bryan, Brenham, closer to midnight, but these northern counties are probably going to be out of that watch within the next, say, hour, at tops 2 hours for those thunderstorms to move south and east. But again, Panola County not included, Shelby County not included, Sabine, San Augustine not included. Interestingly enough, only half of Nacogdoches County. But you may have heard that if you live in Nacogdoches County, you're like, no, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch. I heard. Well, if half the county is in it, the way that the wording goes, you have to look at the watch box, okay? When the watches are put out, it includes any county that's in the watch box. But really, if you look at the aerial view of the way the watch box is drawn, it's half of Nacogdoches County, half of Angelina County, and then Walker County and Trinity counties in that, Houston counties in that, and really counties back to the southwest. But as these cells move out of Anderson County here, right here, and now begin to move, and the front is moving. The showers and thunderstorms are north of the front. These will weaken quickly as they move toward Lufkin. So really, the bigger threat now for the rest of the night, I may have lost my not quite yet. The biggest threat now for the rest of the night is probably going to be right in here for severe weather. So that's probably where if we're going to have severe, maybe I move that up a county into Trinity and southern Houston County for the next couple of hours. Otherwise, I think, and the reason I say that is, watch this. We'll put this into motion, and you can see where the thunderstorms are right now. They're moving into Nacogdoches County, but again, the front has gone. The thunders has gone south of the thunderstorms. In fact, this cell here, which had some stronger rotation, is now weak mid-level rotation. Still a lot of lightning out there, so lots and lots of rainfall for sure. In fact, let me take a look at that estimated rainfall. Sarah was showing you some of the rainfall estimates here. By the way, weather impact alert continues for today. We have another weather impact alert coming up for Thursday. And right now, Thursday could end up being a stronger setup. There is more directional, what we call directional shear, meaning that the wind direction is changing with height on Thursday. So at the low levels, we have southeast winds. We go higher up into the atmosphere, it turns south and eventually to the southwest. So just with that southeast wind, here I'll show you by doing this. So on Thursday, we'll have southeast winds at one level, south winds at another level, and southwest winds at another level. So what does that do? That just promotes turning, or I should put that in counterclockwise mode, turning. And then you have a low pressure area or a little spin up that could possibly happen there. So we may have something more to deal with. All right, let's take a look at, while I have the time, how about rainfall amounts coming out? 3.9 inches of rainfall, eastern Panola County. Cushing, I had a ground report from Dennis Sheaf of 1.25 inches, and that was this afternoon. How about closer to 3 inches of rainfall so far? How about back in the Tyler area? What I need to do is zoom in on this. Smith County, let me go first into northern parts of Cherokee County, see if we get anything there. About an inch of rainfall. Southern Upshur, northern Smith, ½ inch of rainfall. So there's this pocket where the rainfall's been lighter, and then there's been this strip here in these darker reds that would correspond to 3 to 4 inches of rainfall, and that is being backed up by our radar estimates. Sarah?
Hey, Brad, can I just jump in real fast?
Yeah, absolutely.
From the National Weather Service, they are watching this cell near the city of Rusk. We had seen this when it started to weaken. It's starting to pulse back up again a little bit. You can see it right here, this one right near Rusk, where you're seeing that Titan indicator pop up.
You want to go to the wall?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, if you could switch over, we are seeing just a teeny tiny bit of rotation out of that. Now, we are going to continue to watch it. This has started to pop back up. Could we put this in play and just kind of walk through it?
Yeah, sure. You want back?
Actually, no, let's look at this. So we're seeing a bit of green and a little bit of red. Previously, we were seeing just all red, which meant that it was going one direction. Now that we're seeing the green and the red, there is a chance that it might try to do a bit of rotation. Now, right now, very broad, minimal rotation, nothing to be concerned about at the moment. The National Weather Service is watching it, though. We may get a severe thunderstorm warning out of it. Can we switch back to reflectivity and just go ahead and walk through it? Because you can kind of see it begin to build here. So if we go back in time, we'll walk you through the past. I believe it's set to 1 hour, right, Brett? To 2 hours. So this is the cell that we're watching. So you see it began to, it's going back in time. Now we're going forward. It began to build. We had that severe thunderstorm warning get issued. It was expired as the cell weakened. And you can see as it begins to kind of pump back up, a bit more widespread, some more lightning coming out of this, heavier rainfall totals, and just our Titan indicator is picking on that broad scale rotation that we're seeing. This is something that they're going to continue to keep an eye on, like I said, at the National Weather Service. If you live toward Rusk, you may get a severe thunderstorm warning, so just make sure you have your ears pricked. We're going to continue to bring the latest. Can we throw a track on this by chance? It's moving out to the east at about 26 miles per hour. Our hail estimates are coming at about ½ an inch, so that's anywhere between a nickel and a penny that's coming down. This again is moving out to the east there. We're going to give you a track so we can give you a heads up of where the bulk of this system is going to go. Again, no warning out of this just yet, but it is starting to pick up steam a little bit, so just we'll give you the heads up. New Summerfield, that's going to get to you closer to 740, so it's kind of right on you now. Toward Cushing's closer to 745. Mount Enterprise, we're giving you a heads up. That's going to get to you closer to 815, all the way toward Garrison if it holds. Out toward 830 is when it'll reach you. Again, heading out to the east between 20 to 30 miles per hour, out 25 is what our radar estimates are picking up as. Broad scale rotation, you can see it beginning to pick up a little bit of steam. We're seeing darker reds out there. Again, there's likely some hail falling out of this. I think that our radar estimates were putting it at about ½ an inch. Gusty winds are possible. There was a special weather statement already issued for this, so this is the lowest type of alert that the National Weather Service will issue. They were tracking wind gusts between 30 to 40 miles per hour out there toward Rusk. So make sure you're staying weather aware. Again, the bulk of that tornadic threat is kind of past at this point, but we're just going to continue to monitor that. And of course, we'll continue to bring you the latest if they do end up issuing a severe thunderstorm warning. But for my friends in Rusk, I'd recommend just staying inside and waiting this one out as it passes through. Now, if we can take a wider look outside and kind of see what we are tracking out there, lots of lightning, hail, but the worst of the storm activity, how we were seeing this pretty organized line. The cold front's coming through, as Brett just explained, undercutting those storms, kind of weakening them in our area. Now, this line from Palestine back toward Bryan, still kind of intense. If this continues to push in and we see a collision of this part of the storm and this line of the storm, that happens south of Palestine near Crockett, it could get slightly intense, but we'll of course continue to keep you updated as we get the latest information in there. Now this is, we just got more lightning out there. Remember, if you hear thunder, go indoors. Try to avoid the bulk of the lightning with this system. Hey Brett, are you seeing anything out there?
No, I was going to zoom in and just do a lightning count on that cell there near Rusk for you. Let's see. Between Jacksonville and Rusk, that cell itself looked like it was producing,
83 lightning strikes, so that's come down a little bit. That's good. Over toward Laneville to Cushing in southern parts of Rusk, northern Nacogdoches County, lightning strikes are down to 45.
Looking at the cell, you can see it almost looks like it's trying to collapse in the center toward Rusk, but of course, we'll continue to see the next scan, see what it says.
Yeah, I wonder if we go to velocity and see if there's any type of downburst happening, if it's collapsing like that. And it doesn't look like it. Maybe a little bit there between Rusk and Alto, a little brighter green showing up. I'll show you, I'll circle that area so everybody at home can see what I'm talking about. Essentially right in here, so maybe some, oops, didn't take it. Hold on, one more time. Right in there. So maybe some gusty winds just to the northwest of Alto toward Highway 69. Could be a couple of wind gusts getting closer to 40 miles an hour. But
so if you're driving, just make sure that you're staying extra weather aware, especially if you're heading on that was 69. You could get caught in the crosswinds. That's not going to be a pleasant drive. I'd recommend waiting it out. Maybe give it, what, 30 minutes?
yeah, those are the way they're moving. I feel like they're starting to pick up steam, especially if they get behind the front. Look at that. They're just rolling now. Like you can see the front's really getting underneath them.
We have a way to show the cape on here, right?
Yes, you may have to turn off the radar and then turn on the cape. I don't know whether it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's some decent storm energy that we're seeing. This is Cape. I mentioned this a little bit earlier if you guys were watching. Really, though, the bulk of that storm energy is way out toward the Gulf Coast. We do expect it to get pretty intense down there. Here in the Piney Woods, we are tracking elevated thunderstorm energy. This, as the storms roll through, it could pick up on this. I'm looking at this little pocket toward Jacksonville, Crockett, Nacogdoches. If it rolls through, it could feed off of all of this energy and begin to pick up a little bit. But really, right now, the bulk of that line is kind of where you're seeing the cutoff of that thunderstorm energy, because it's rolled through, it's already used up that energy, kind of like gas in a car. That's a good way that I like to think of it.
Good analogy. It's really,
Thanks, Brett.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, still some lightning out there. I'm going to go ahead and check the Facebook chat to see if there's any questions that you guys have. If you have any, feel free to drop them in there. We'll continue to answer them. All right, Shelby saying that it is starting up at Palestine. Shelby also saying that it's heavy at Palestine and Elkhart right now with really loud rainfall. So I want to assure any of those kiddos that are listening, it may be rainy, but that's not going to stop Santa from making it to your tree tonight. He has Christmas magic, so no need to worry about that. I'm going to toss it over to Brett. You have any updates?
I said last night he had rain gear and reindeer. So he's got it covered on both
I love
ends.
it. Our sports anchor was saying that the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Well, really, the weather outside is very frightful, Brett.
It kind of is. I mean, we have a stormy Christmas Eve. That doesn't happen too often. A couple years ago, we had a New Year's Eve that had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings with it, but not the case tonight. These are severe thunderstorms. The good news is that they're now starting to move farther to the southeast. So instead of later into the evening, for sure, once you go to sleep tonight, these thunderstorms, in terms of the severe threat, long gone. Unless you were, say, getting later and traveling to Bryan or down toward Rockdale or back toward Austin or farther south toward Houston. Now, as Sarah just showed you, there is some energy in the atmosphere there, and the severe thunderstorm watch goes until midnight. But really for us, the front itself, again, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, the front is starting to undercut the thunderstorms, and so as it does, you can see just how the shape of these thunderstorms changes until you get to Crockett. So likely the front itself has outraced the thunderstorms here until we get to about there. And so these thunderstorms are still interacting with the front here, but the front has made it farther to the south, so center. So cooler, less humid air. The energy's been zapped. Sarah showed you the energy around Smith County and Tyler is gone for the night. Still doesn't mean, we still have some lightning bolts, but we're talking about potential energy in terms of lift and severe weather. Now, we just had a little upbeat here on the Titan indicator for just a moment on that cell. And so it's sort of maybe regenerating a little bit. So I'll pause the radar and see if we can kind of check that out and see what's going on with that cell. We still have a severe, do we just get another severe thunderstorm? Oh no, I stopped it too soon. There we go. All right. So currently the front south toward Lufkin, this cell picked up a little bit. This has been the cell that moved out of Anderson County, moving over toward Rusk. We've had reports of some heavier rainfall around Rusk. We've had also some reports of some hail around Rusk. and that's going to be just south of Jacksonville. So there's Alto, there's Jacksonville. There is the strengthening updraft on that thunderstorm. Again, the updraft is strengthening, then the winds can support the hailstones a little bit longer, and so they can grow larger. So starts off as maybe a little piece of ice. It starts to fall, it melts. Updraft sends it back up into the clouds. It refreezes, begins to fall again. Through collision and coalescence, we have other little water droplets that join the party. Then the thunderstorm updraft throws it back up again. It refreezes. It gets a little bit larger, and suddenly you have pea-sized hail, nickel-sized hail. It can get larger and larger if the updraft can sustain it. So the fact that we see the stronger updraft there would tell us that we have the potential to see some larger hail. And look at that, we have half-inch hail. So maybe now getting up to about nickel, still under severe thunderstorm warned hail. It has to be 1 inch now. A number of years ago, it used to be 3/4 of an inch when we were more of an agrarian society, but we've kind of moved away from that. And so the Weather Service sort of changed that to 1 inch hail. And so we have fewer tornado or severe thunderstorm warnings related to hail sizes now, and you have to have bigger hail to have that. You have to have 1 inch hail. So at any rate, this would be concerning. Nickel-sized hail, 90% chance of that happening. Tornado impact at a 2, that's interesting to see. Hail impact and flood impact are going to be the largest out of those two concerns here in this storm right now south of Jacksonville, between Alto and Jacksonville. What I want to do is I am going to put the track on this and find out, make sure it's moving to the north. Most of these cells tonight have been moving east to northeast at roughly 26 miles an hour. So let me draw this out here. 20, I'm going to put it at 30 miles an hour just to account for maybe a change in speed. So New Summerfield, Griffin, McKnight, Joinerville, Henderson. All right, so let's go back over the times there. As sometimes it's tough to walk and talk at the same time. 8:02, New Summerfield. So right now it's 15 minutes. New Summerfield, this cell could be moving into New Summerfield. Heavy rain, lightning, maybe some small hail. Griffin, 8:08, McKnight, 8:23, Joinerville, 8:37, Henderson, 8:43 as it continues moving northeastward. So that's this kind of strengthening cell that we've seen here toward Rusk with that strengthening updraft moving over toward Laneville. Laneville right now also seeing a tremendous amount of lightning out of this cell. In fact, let me see if I can, it's a little harder to do with this precipitation rate on that lighter, but that's an area that I keyed on, so let's not pay attention to that. At any rate, what we're seeing is, I'll widen things back out for you. All right, yeah, so now we're talking about the city of Nacogdoches. If we had the Nacogdoches camera pointed northward, I bet we'd be picking up a light show.
It up right now. We can go ahead and take a look outside. Excuse me, I clicked the wrong graphic. There we go. Now it's up. Looks like we're not seeing anything just yet. It is pointed out to the north, but if we give it a sec, we might see some lightning out there. It may be just a little too far for our SFA cam to pick up at the moment. Still, lots of rain, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. Now, we do have a special weather statement out for Nacogdoches, out toward Rusk, Cherokee, Panola, Nacogdoches County, as well as Shelby and Angelina County. But I want to point out this cell that we've been watching that was out toward Rusk. I'm keeping an eye on it. It does look like we are seeing a bit of an inflow just to the southeast of Rusk, north of Alto. A little bit of the inflow means that it can begin to pick up some steam. Not much rotation out of this, nothing that's really concerning. I'll switch back to reflectivity. I'm going to walk you through the past little bit. You can see how it begins to build back up, and then it kind of connects with that cell that's coming south from New Brunswick, and that's where it's starting to get a bit of that inflow. So my friends in Alto, New Brunswick, you'll likely see a few wind gusts. Make sure that you're staying weather aware, though, because we could see that begin to become more intense. We just got a new radar scan in. That's what that flash was. An updraft just to the west of Rusk. That means that we could likely see some hail out of that soon. As the updraft intensifies, just like Brett was saying, it will kind of have these water droplets stuck in this perpetual loop where it'll get pushed up into the air, it'll try to fall down, it'll get caught in that updraft again, and then it will kind of freeze, and that's when we can get some large hail out of that. In fact, I'm going to throw over to see what our estimated hail sizes are, if I can find it here on our graphic. There we go. It may take a second to load in, but it looks like we're not picking up any hail on our radar. Oh, we did just get a flash flood. I believe that's an advisory, a warning in purple. Yeah. That's just to our west, so not in our viewing area, but out toward Buffalo and Centerville. Something to keep in mind out there. Still, if my friends in Rusk, just make sure you're staying weather aware. Lots of winds in Cushing, some rain, as well as some lightning. Brett?
Yeah, so we have a severe thunderstorm warning down in Bryan for Brazos and Burleson County. That has a tornado possible tag on it. The flash flood warning is going to be for Leon and Robertson, just to the west of Anderson and Houston County. Look at that heavier cell right there that's moving through. That looks like 2 to 3 inches of rainfall easily an hour. That would be the rainfall rate out of that. We can easily check that out by looking at the estimated rainfall already. So just southwest of Teague, where there was that tornado warned storm in that area, and these cells are moving through there. That red area there is going to be 3 to 4 inches of rainfall, and all of that is going to continue moving south and east into that area. So likely we're going to get more and more rain out of that. Hail tracker here, we did have that one cell, and I'll see if we got any updates on the cell back to that had the special weather statement on it. We currently don't have any watches, or we don't have any warnings, I should say, in East Texas. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. Again, that does include southwestern Rusk County, so maybe just close to the city of Henderson, then Nacogdoches to the west, Lufkin westward, southern Cherokee County, though right now those cells are starting to move into southern Cherokee County, though there was a pretty good thunderstorm still from Jacksonville to the south between Jacksonville and Alto. And then Trinity and Houston counties would be the counties in East Texas that we would have the biggest concerns with in terms of possibly getting something of more significance in terms of severe weather. But right now, it's Tyler's just in rain, steady rain. Heaviest thunderstorms have pushed or getting closer to center, Cushing and Crockett. Let me put a track on that for you. I've got to use a different method here, so just bear with me. But I'll get you through this real fast. All right, so I'm gonna track from Timpson, okay, all the way back to Crockett, and I believe these storms. I'm going to put these storms out to the southeast. Let's say 30 miles an hour. Okay, and so this will give you an idea of, if you're watching us tonight, Merry Christmas. We're walking you through these thunderstorms. We'll stay on for a little bit longer. Nacogdoches, 8 o'clock. The thunderstorms should be arriving there in about 8 minutes, okay? Crockett, 8:04. You can see how heavy the rain is right there. So you're going to get heavy rain, some gusty winds, maybe some small hail, lots and lots of lightning, lots and lots of thunder. The amount of thunder that you'll likely hear out of this will really kind of get your attention. 8:17 Wells. You know, I guess you could ask yourself, would you rather this all be snow? If it was snow, it'd be 20 inches of snowfall or more. Pollock, I know, right?
Christmas.
That would be it. Yeah, it's been a long, I think 2012 is what last time East Texas had a white Christmas. There was about an inch of snowfall on the 24th, and it was measured Christmas morning at 7 a.m. at just over an inch. And so that was the last time that we had a white Christmas in East Texas. But wet Christmas certainly here like this. St. Augustine, 8:38. Cedar Grove, Lufkin, not until 9 o'clock. So you got about another hour for the thunderstorms to arrive in Lufkin. Oh, I wanted to show you this. This was kind of interesting. We were tracking one cell earlier that was on its own sitting here in parts of Anderson County, and it was the cell that they had put a severe thunderstorm warning on it, and they put a tornado tag possible on it. And watch what happened. I might have to, I'll put this into motion, and I'm going to move this up a little bit because I want to show you the cell itself. It's, can we go back? Oh, wow. I think oh, it was this cell here. So it was this cell right here on its own. That's been about 2 hours ago near Elkhart, and it just got absorbed into that cell south of Jacksonville. And so that cell has gained a little bit of strength.
Right. You want me to walk you through it on this?
Yeah. I think you might have to go back now. I don't know how, this was probably only set back an hour, but if you go back 2 or even 3.
This is 2 hours ago.
So this is 2 hours ago. So I think it's this cell, probably this cell by Elkhart. This one looks like it's trying to take on some sort of hooking, but then it kidney beamed out. So it's got to be this one toward Elkhart. Yeah. So this one's by itself, prompts a severe thunderstorm warning. There it is. Tornado possible tag on it. Sitting out there by itself in its own environment. Look at the lightning strikes that are with it. Tons of lightning with it. and then it just gets absorbed as the front moves through, and the front absorbs that cell, and then it now is just basically a large cluster of thunderstorms near Jacksonville. So that was the concern earlier tonight, is that you'd have a cell that would be sitting out there south of the front in its own environment, just chewing up some good energy. We made it up to 72 or 73 degrees today. So we had a lot of good energy in the atmosphere, and we needed the front to come in there and undercut it, and that's what is essentially happening now. Still, though, the biggest concerns tonight, Elkhart, Centerville, back toward Madisonville, south and east toward Crockett and Groveton for the next couple of hours in terms of heavy rainfall and potentially still a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe even a brief tornado spin up, though it looks like that threat is beginning to diminish just a little bit. On the energy tracker there, can you go back to that and check that out? That was interesting to note, because I think that holds a big key. I don't know if I might be able to, I can throw that up here too. Let me throw that up over here. Okay, so Sarah was showing this earlier. There's still a fair amount of energy from Laneville to Jacksonville, but really the best amounts of energy are going to be down to the south, back toward Madisonville, and all the way back toward Somerville. So, and toward to the northwest of Houston. So this is where the severe thunderstorm watch still exists till midnight. But right now, Tyler, the energy is gone. This should update here probably by 8 o'clock, and then you'll likely see some of that wiped away, and it'll shift off further to the southeast. So right now, no warnings. We have the severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. I'll go back to that and give you just kind of reset the table here. So southern Rusk County, that's western parts of Nacogdoches, southern Cherokee. Then you've got Angelina, Houston, part of Anderson, and Trinity County. So what, about a half dozen cities in that watch. So let me just go forward here. We have to make a decision if we want to stay on with this. The severe threat certainly looks like it has diminished. There are no warnings right now, but we still have that watch. So yeah, we may let everyone enjoy their Christmas Eve.
Perfect. I saw one question in the chat that I want to answer.
Yeah, please do.
Before we go ahead and jump off, I saw people asking about Athens. Athens, you guys are way back behind the line now, so there is still some rain, a chance of lightning, but the bulk of it has passed. That's out to your south, the area that Brett was talking about, out toward Elkhart, Rusk, also. A little bit of broad rotation there, nothing that is terribly concerning at the moment, especially as the front has already come through and undercut it. We'll, of course, continue to bring you the latest. If anything else major happened, we'll be streaming right here on CBS19 Plus, on Facebook, and I believe on YouTube. And I will have an update for you at 10. And, of course, we will continue to bring you the latest. Brett, anything else?
Nope, that'll do it.
Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm going to join
Christmas
you
Eve.
just to say Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Sarah, say good night.
Good night, y'all.